Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a very special episode of the Utopiacast. It's a little bit of a departure from our regular episodes, so this is not really going to go in the order of which we have recorded them, so this will be known as a special episode here. And me and Michael here. First of all, Michael, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
And Michael is going to be featured a little bit later here today. We wanted to do something pretty special. Now, we're going to cover the awards that we're going to kind of get into in a second. But I guess you're going to see the title. This is the inaugural end of the year awards show for USAPL Maine, a federation that we are a part of. I don't want to take 100% credit, but this was my idea. Yeah. I did come up with the criteria. I came up with, all of the measures, and we'll get into each one of them. But just a little bit of a backstory. Michael played high school sports for a little bit until you got hurt.
Yeah. And then I started doing just powerlifting.
And then you started doing just powerlifting. Yeah. I played high school sports, middle school sports. And then if you want to go into the college and professional things, every division of sports, there's always some type of either awards recognition, all conference team, all, NFL, anytime you see all pro. And I figured, and, collectively we figured, why not do that for powerlifting? You know what I mean? I'm not quite sure if they even do this at the USAPL national level. I have never seen it.
I doubt it. I mean, you got to put a lot of work. Like, you did a lot of work just to get this.
Right. So I can't imagine what it would be like doing this across the entire USAPL. Right. But I figured, let's try it out. And, those who are watching this, I, went live with my blog post and the Instagram post, and it seems to be doing quite well. So we want to do our due diligence talking about each person today. And, so this is something that would probably, if it, all goes well, we can cover each year, and then ultimately I would like to make this legit. I'd like to actually have physical awards.
I think that'd be really cool.
And this year's awards recipients definitely will be recognized at some physical capacity once we have the means to do it, but I'm only one person, so I can't do everything in this regard. Yeah. But eventually that would be the goal. So let's get into this here. So we have a bunch of awards categories here. So I'll break it down. We have Men's Lifter of the Year, and just the criteria, you have to be a part of USAPL Maine in order to do this. Right. We have Men's Lifter of the Year, Women's Lifter of the Year, Junior Lifter of the Year for men and women, Teen Lifter of the Year for men and women, Masters Lifter of the Year, men and women as well. We have our Rising Star Award. We have Comeback Lifter of the Year. We have All USAPL Maine first and second team for the men and women. We have All USAPL Maine, like I said, for the men and the women, for the men and the women. We have the USAPL Maine All-Star Team for the men and the women, and then finally, Meet Director of the Year. Yep. Is there anything that we missed with these awards here, you think, Michael?
I think that you got pretty much all of them. Earlier, we didn't have like the junior and teen, but I think that that's a good addition.
I thought so too.
I think you got everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. There's nothing else we could have done.
And I suppose the only thing possible that we could have done would be Coach of the Year. And I thought about metrics of how to do that. And it would just be so impossible to find what lifter qualified for national meets, you know what I mean? Because it's not like there's a database of this lifter qualified for national meet. That would make it so much easier.
But also, like, it's a lot easier. I mean, I don't know, actually.
Yeah.
You could have really young guys, or you could have like open guys. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's probably a lot harder if you had all open guys.
I think
trying to get into nationals.
Absolutely, that's undisputably. But then I also like to scale things to the local level. Like, did you produce a lifter that won a best lifter? Right. And it's hard to find that information, stuff like that. So I said forego this. Maybe we want to do that in the future. And then the hardest part of all of this for me was trying to take my own bias out.
Yeah, and that's hard.
Because I figured no one else is going to do this, so I want to be the person to, at least get the impetus. If someone else wants to take over eventually, that would be cool. But, I made this as objective as I possibly could.
I think you did a good job with that, too.
I'm going to, forewarn, there are people that I coach who are on here, but they earned it, and you'll see why they earned it.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the first award, and that is Men's Lifter of the Year. Michael, who are the so for a couple of these we actually had nominees of people who we thought were deserving.
Yeah.
What was the criteria for this award here?
So the criteria was you competed frequently, which means 2 or more times.
That's what we defined as frequent.
Yeah. Represented Maine at a national meet. you didn't have to do that, but
it was any or of the following. Yep. So
won best lifter medals, set state records in total or any individual lift.
Right. So what we kind of tried to do, and powerlifting's a little bit, cut and dry, and whoever has the highest dots is by definition the best lifter,
right?
And that's Mr. John Lavoie, and that would have been the easy pick here, but we decided to put a spin on that, and we want to reward people who competed not just once. We wanted to reward people that maybe went above the state level and went to the national level. A bonus if you medaled, bonus if you got a best lifter medal. We try to compile that into as objective top 3 as we can.
Just like a well-rounded lifter,
right?
That is also very good,
right, and is also durable.
Yeah, and I think that we made a good choice on who we chose.
Absolutely. So we'll talk about some honorable mentions first. So I think people who are somewhat deserving, I'm not even going to say somewhat, people who were deserving of this in their own right. Andrew Graves would be a good one here. Evan Larson, we have Evan Wright, we have Brighton Babcock, who is a teen lifter who competed a bunch of times. Logan Allaire, and then of course Mr. John Lavoie. All of those missed out on the criteria just ever so slightly. And this is the tough part. Me and Michael were a part of the top 3.
You
can read off mine, what I did this year, and I'll read off what you did, and then we'll decide. Yeah. We'll say who the winner is. So
I'll start with you. So Erik Hogan competed 2 times, had a 450 dots and then a 458 dots, second highest in 2022. Broke state records in the squat, bench, and deadlift, and total in the 67.5 kilogram class in the open, and qualified for Raw Nationals.
Right. And then Michael, he competed in 2 meets. He went 418 and 448 on dots, and that was good for the 3rd highest in 2022. He broke state records in the bench press, the deadlift, in the 67.5 kg junior division, and he won 2 best lifter medals, and as well as qualifying for Raw Nationals. In our opinion, pretty deserving. John qualified for Raw Nationals. He only competed once. Yeah. John had the highest dots, so that kind of took him out of the running to begin with. So we'll settle on our actual winner, who I think by far had the most, had the depth and the overall performance.
Right.
And that's Mr. Evan Downing, out of Stand Strong in Wilton. Would you mind reading off what he was able to accomplish this year?
Yeah, so Evan competed 3 times. He had a 393, 397, and a 420 dots, which was crazy to see.
Crazy. It's a huge improvement. Yeah. That was good for 7th highest in 2022.
Yeah, he represented Maine at high school nationals, placing 4th in the 82.5 kilogram varsity division. Set 1 official American record in the squat and 2 unofficial American records. Won 1 best lifter medal and qualified for teen nationals.
There's not many.
I don't think that we can compete with that.
I was gonna say, I think pretty objectively speaking, he had the best year of any lifter on the male side. Only a teen. He's gonna be featured a little bit later as well. Really deserving, really good person. True competitor. If you ever get to see him lift, he brings a very unique passion, especially to the squat. He kind of cools it off for bench press a little bit, but he's recently become a pretty good deadlifter, so he's bringing it on for that. Up. Yeah, exactly. So very deserving. Congratulations, Evan. That's who our men's lifter of the year is. Moving on to women's lifter of the year. So same criteria goes for this one. We'll read off the honorable mentions. That would be Carly Cummings and Taylor Knapp. Carly competed a bunch of times, did well at the meets that she did. Taylor competed twice. Taylor actually had the highest raw deadlift in USAPL Maine recorded history. So I felt like that was pretty deserving in that regard. So let's read off. I'll read off the bottom one. You read off the next one, and we'll talk about the winner.
Yep.
So Julia Wells was a nominee here. She did 3 meets. She improved her total in each one of those meets, which is very hard to do when you compete that frequently. She placed 2nd at the Carrie Boudreaux number 2, and I believe she broke many state records when it came to the squat and the total. I'm not sure if there was a bench press and a deadlift in there, not that I could find, but she broke a ton, so it was too many to count here. Yeah. Very deserving. Who was the other person that we decided on?
The next one would be Christina Consigli.
Consigli, yep.
She competed twice. Her dots were 366 and 380. Second highest in 2022.
Right.
Broke state records in the squat, bench press, and total.
Pretty good year.
Yeah.
And
great year.
she was a very strong candidate for comeback lifter of the year.
Yep.
She took a long time off of competing. This is her first full year back. Now, I'm not sure the 100% reason, but I do know she had a child, and coming back from childbirth we know nothing about that, but I'm pretty sure
it's difficult.
I'm pretty sure it's not easy. So she was very deserving, but this one honestly was a slam dunk in terms of who deserved it. And that is who?
I don't know. How do you say her first?
I put him in a tough position there. So I believe it's pronounced Marielle Opena.
Okay.
So Marielle competed in 2 meets. She went 4:14 and 4:18 dots, which was both of those actually would have been highest in 2022. She won 2 best lifter medals, including our state championships. She broke multiple state records in 2 different weight classes. I don't think that she qualified for nationals this year, but she will definitely next year. Marielle has always been a great lifter.
Yeah.
She took all of 2021 off, making her a candidate for comeback lifter of the year as well. But she's always good. She's just hitting her stride.
That dots is very good.
And that's not even her best. I believe her best is in the 450s.
Wow.
So once she is back full force, this might be a multiple year thing for her. Yeah. So congratulations, Marielle. You're truly incredible. Marielle's a great competitor. Love watching her lift. And good luck to you next year. All right, so moving on to junior lifters of the year. So it would have been, ideally in years moving forward, I'd want to do the nominee thing and kind of do it how we did for the best overall lifter.
Mm-hmm.
But I figured, it says something being able to put up the highest dots, highest coefficient performance of the year.
Yeah.
And I figured the age divisions were better off for this. So the highest male dots of the year, who was our junior lifter of the year, is sitting right next to me. That is Michael Beaupre, 67.5 kilos with a 448 dots. Michael, this was your swan song. This was your last year as a junior, and you went out with a bang.
That last meet was just incredible. I think about it literally like every day.
Yeah, absolutely. That was quite literally not a better way to go out of your junior career than that. So well deserved there. And who was our female?
Kaylee Dow with a 344 dots.
Yep, Kaylee, I believe, only competed once. That was our state championship, but clearly she only needed one meet to put up that performance. I believe it was only her second meet. Very good lifter, very well-rounded lifter. I believe she's with Team Kang now.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully her progress continues to skyrocket. And again, well-deserved there. Congratulations, Kaylee. We'll move to teen lifter of the year, men's and women's. For the guys, of course, it's our best overall lifter. He is a teen. Evan Downing, not much to say there. It really wasn't close in terms of, the second highest to, I think it was like 40-something dots separated.
He's competing with like the grown adults.
Exactly.
Right,
so he's 7th highest for everyone. So,
yeah.
Well-deserved there. And then someone we also mentioned for overall lifter of the year is Julia Wells.
Yep,
what was her dots?
359 dots.
359 in her first full year of competition is pretty incredible.
She's insane.
She's going to go over 400 probably in the next year, maybe 2.
Yep.
She's a Teen 2 lifter, so she might be a repeat winner. Julia, incredible performances this year. Great job. The next one will be Masters Lifter of the Year. Very interesting one. I feel like Masters lifters as a whole don't really get a lot of shine, so I definitely wanted to include them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they're a very important part of the sport.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we can both attest that it's very impressive seeing people who are, maybe of, I don't want to say advanced age, but, older, who are still putting up weight. Like, that's what we want to do.
Yeah. That'd be incredible right now I have all these aches and pains. I can't imagine what they're feeling.
Right.
Like, I would love to be able to compete at the level they're competing at.
And then some of these people have kids and have like all this other stuff.
Grandkids even.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, what you guys do is incredible. So our men's representative, or not representative, who earned it, was Wes Johnson with a 338 dots. Wes is a very, very intense competitor, is always at Maine meets. I think he did 3 in 2021, only did 1 in 2022, but just like Kaylee, only needed 1 performance to do it. Who was our female?
Brenna Herridge with the 303 dots.
303. Brenna, again, stand strong lifter.
Right.
She did, I believe she did 2 meets, improved her dots both times. and very strong. I mean, going over 300 at any level is impressive.
Right.
But I believe I know she has at least one child, but I don't know if she has multiple. But doing this with children, again, I can't imagine what this would be like. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
So, all right. So we'll move into some specialty awards here. The Rising Star Award. So I initially wanted to do this boys and girls, but I kind of decided that this is a one-person award. It makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes more sense for this to be a one-person. And again, try to be as objective as I can, and I can't think of a better recipient than this one here. So the criteria for this one is lifters who made a splash in their first year of competition. Now, that's a little bit vague, and I'm aware of that. But you'll see why that sometimes this jumps right out at you. Who is our winner of the Rising Star Award?
Logan Allaire.
Logan Allaire.
Team Hogan.
Yeah, Team Hogan lifter here. So,
we try not to be too biased, but
yeah, but he earned it. He definitely earned it.
Yeah.
Would you mind reading off what he was able to accomplish this year?
So he competed twice. He has one unofficial American record in the squat. Became one of only 40 people in USAPL Maine USAPL history.
USAPL, not just Maine. Yeah.
To squat over 500 pounds in competition at 90 kilos. Under the age of 18.
Absolutely. And
he was 16.
He was 16.
Yeah.
Yes, he was 16. And he squatted that unofficial American record that stood since 2012 when he was 15. So,
yep.
In terms of debuts, the only... Julia Wells was the other consideration here, and she did very well. But Logan, I think the American records kind of set him off here.
American records at your first meet is always just insane.
Right, and he qualified for high school nationals, and I think he's seated in the top 15. So, in terms of people who definitely earned this, he's one of them. Another one that I'd like to give as an honorable mention would be Emily Grinnell. She did her first meet and put up the second highest dots in USAPL recorded history next to Marielle. Put up the heaviest, at the time, the heaviest deadlift, the heaviest bench press by far, and is the top 3 for squat. And she's not, she's like just barely over 90 kilos when she did that meet, and she's going to compete at 90 kilos this next meet. So she was deserving. Maybe next year. I guess she's technically out of the running for next year since first year. But I'm curious to see who comes out of the woodworks next year for this one.
Yeah, I mean, seeing Logan come out, you never know who's going to
Logan came out of nowhere. Logan wasn't even on anyone's radar, and then just all of a sudden, exploded. So it really can just happen like that. All right. One of my personal favorites, and I thought was, again, I will take credit for this one because this was my idea, comeback lifter of the year.
Yeah.
There's always a comeback of some sorts going on in this game.
You may never know. Like people saw my competition, didn't necessarily know it was a comeback.
No, and they didn't know the context.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that I could think that were valid for this. I'll read off a couple people. Evan Larson would be one of them. He came back from a very severe shoulder injury to do pretty well in 2022. Christina Consigli, she came back from close to a 3-year hiatus, of course, childbirth, all that stuff. Had a really good year. John Lavoie had a little bit of a down 2021 and then came back with a vengeance in 2022. Actually did the same meet that I did. He won best lifter at that. Was just under a PR total and just under a PR dots. But to be honest with you, this one was a slam dunk as well. I really can't think of a better person for this one. The comeback lifter of the year is, again, sitting next to me. That is Michael Beaupre. To save you the embarrassment of reading off your own stuff, Michael came back from a 4-year hiatus, so he did not compete for 4 years. The first year back, he won 2 best lifter medals, and he qualified for Open Division Raw Nationals, and only a second meet back. Quite literally, the only thing that could put someone above would be winning nationals in their comeback season.
Maybe breaking an American record.
Breaking an American record, something like that. So you were the comeback lifter of the year. How does that feel for you? How do you feel about being the initial recipient of that?
I'm pretty happy to get that. It was a lot of work. And, you saw, it was a whole year. I had just come off of heart surgery, actually.
Exactly.
So
most people don't know that either.
Yeah, I don't think we've really ever talked about it. I had heart surgery, and then I started lifting probably 2 months later and reached out to you.
Right.
And then we were like, I'm going to make a comeback. I'm going to go to nationals.
Right.
And I never thought that I'd be going to nationals in the 67.5 kilo class.
Right. Initially, you thought it would be in the 60s, but the old 59s.
Right, because I was like, there's no way I could total that much. Like, I'm not going to deadlift 500 pounds. Like,
right.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But if you just, like, put your head down and just keep going and don't look at anybody else, I think, like, you're the only person holding yourself back.
That's it, and that should be a beacon to some of you that, like, you know, you can't. I mean, I don't think you necessarily condone taking multiple years off, but you had to for multiple reasons that you don't need to get into.
Yeah. Would I have done that again? Probably not. I wish that I like continued to at least lift.
Yeah.
Because I pretty much didn't lift.
Right.
I didn't squat or deadlift.
Right.
I benched, but when I came to you, I was literally squatting like 275.
275, deadlifting like maybe 315.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was benching like 250.
Right. But it should be a call to action that if you do have to take time off, it won't be the end of the world.
No, you can always come back.
You can always come back if you commit yourself and kind of give yourself to the game, for lack of a better term. You know what I mean?
You gotta work hard to come back.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. It's not going to come back easy, but it will come back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was it for the awards. So let's move over to some of the teams here. So again, I think this was my coolest one because like NBA, the top 5 people are always like all NBA first team, second team, third team. Yeah. The way I did this was simple: top 5 highest dots for the first team, and that's of course in 2022, and then the next 5 highest dots for the second team. The All-Star team is rewarding the highest total in each weight class. So if you had the highest total, there's some special scenarios where, say you had the highest total, but there was another person in your weight class who was lighter, but like trying to think of an instance, I can't think of one off the top of my head, but there's an instance where you could be on the All-Star team, but not the All USAPL team. You know what I mean? So I wanted to make sure total was rewarded as well as dots.
Yep.
So let's talk about the first team. So the All USAPL Maine men's first team, the inaugural one. John Lavoie is our first one, number 1.
Not a surprise.
Not a surprise there. John, super solid, super strong. Has been number 1 for the last like 4 years.
Yeah.
Just a great guy. Well deserved there. Who's our number 2?
Erik Hogan.
Yep. That was
not surprised there at all.
Yeah, well, it was a decent year.
Yeah, you did really good this year.
Absolutely.
What was your highest dots?
458.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With a
1306 total.
Yep.
Yep. So Michael was number 3. We already talked about him for comeback and for junior. 448 dots, well deserved there. So we got 2 Team Hogan people on here so far. Who's number 4?
Andrew Graves, another Team Hogan lifter.
Another Team Hogan lifter, so that's 3 out of the top 5 are Team Hogan. I'm pretty happy about that.
Pretty awesome.
Pretty cool. Andrew, it would have been even higher, honestly. He probably would have passed.
3.
I think he would have even passed me if he would have.
Yeah, possibly.
If he would have totaled what he totaled at last meet, and I think he will pass that threshold this year.
Yeah.
So really, really excited for him. Number 5 is Michael Pinkham, who only competed once at the beginning of the year. Can't remember exactly what his dot score was, but it was good for number 5 overall. I probably should have written it down. Michael, really strong bencher, really strong squatter, I believe. Just strong overall.
Yeah,
and
I think he got second for the heavyweights.
Yep, to Larry Henson.
Yep.
Who was not a main lifter, but that wasn't the main. That wasn't a state championship meet.
Right.
So congratulations to all of our first team members there. The second team, do you want to start with number 6 or the first recipient?
Yeah, so number 6 with the highest dots for the men is Eli Yang, who I competed against in July.
Right, he placed second overall.
Yeah, he really good lifter for his second meet actually, but still.
His second meet, and he actually, I believe, bombed out of his first, so he clearly learned his lesson for whatever he didn't execute on and came back for, the 6th highest performance of the year.
I think he had like a 421 or 422 dots, something like that.
Which is incredible, so congratulations there, Eli. Number 7 is Mr. Downing, teen lifter, I believe the youngest person on this list.
Yeah, it looks like it.
I believe he's 17. He might be 18 now, regardless. But no, he's 18 because I think he's in college. Yeah, he's in college. So youngest person on this list, and it's probably going to just keep rising every year. So who's number 8?
Evan Larson, another Team Hogan lifter.
Yep, Evan Larson, just super solid. His comeback year for sure. He got best lifter at States.
Yeah.
Just a great guy. Number 9 was Evan Wright. So we got 2 Evans. Evan Wright truly had a breakout year this year. deadlifted 600 pounds in competition, was knocking on the door of a 1,500 pound total. He's another person that I could see jumping a bunch of spots this year.
Yeah. Both of them will be contenders for placing at states coming up.
I think so. Yeah. I definitely think so. And then who rounded out our All USAPL team?
Ben Rivers.
Ben Rivers, again, another person who only competed once. Briefly worked with him. He's a really good guy. So I'm not going to claim him as a Team Hogan guy because we only worked for a couple months. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of the 10 are Team Hogan guys. So. Yeah. I think we had a pretty good year, Michael.
I think Team Hogan's doing pretty good.
I think we're doing pretty good. So let's talk about the women here. Our first team, so I'll read off the first two, and then you read off the next two. We'll try to speed it up a little bit. Not any disrespect to the women at all, but we're working on a limited time crunch right here. So the top three were Marielle Opena, Christina Consigli, and Emily Grinnell. We already talked about Marielle, tremendous lifter there. It's going to be a while, I think, before someone passes her. Christina, 1 and 2 were pretty, far above the rest. Those two girls are just, doing incredible things right now. And then Emily has only competed once. She's a Team Hogan athlete and was good enough for third best all year. Pretty good.
That's pretty good for your first time competing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Who rounded out our top 5?
Julia Wells and Taylor Knapp.
Julia, we already talked about her. She's already won Teen Lifter of the Year. Very strong showing. Taylor, we also briefly mentioned, had the heaviest deadlift of the year. And she's only 90 kilos. I think she only weighed in at like 88 kilos.
Yeah,
so
she has a lot of room to grow.
A lot of room to grow and a lot of room to grow on this list. So congratulations, ladies, in that regard. All right, who is the first recipient or the first three of our second team?
Carly Cummings, Kaylee Dow, and Brittany Boxer.
Absolutely. Kaylee, we already talked about, who won junior. Carly, came back from childbirth as well. That was very difficult for her. She's a Team Hogan athlete, and she's just now rounding back into form. She's one, if I had to place bets on most improved or highest jump, probably be her.
Yeah.
She's improved a lot. Brittany Boxer, I will just say, is the... in terms of what you think of a powerlifter, she is the opposite of that, but I don't think she takes offense to that. I think she embraces that,
yeah.
And it's truly incredible what she's able to do, because I think a lot of people underestimate her, and she's top 3, top 4 every meet that she's in.
Yeah.
And she's a really incredible lifter, so, congratulations, Brittany. Who rounded out our top 9 and 10 was...
Georgina LaGrange?
I believe it's LaGrange, and then...
Serena Paquette.
Right. So Georgina, I believe, looking at her open powerlifting history, unfortunately bombed out in her first meet, came back and avenged that at the Kerry Boudreaux.
Yep.
Very strong. She has an accent, so I'm not quite sure where her home country is. It sounded British, South African, something of the like.
Yeah, I don't know what that last
I'm not quite sure,
French,
but
maybe?
I don't think it's French. But regardless, she's a Maine registered athlete, and she did very good in that meet that she recently competed in. And then Serena Paquette, who, I think she took some time off to focus on like work and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But clearly, her at not even her 100% best is good enough for top 10. So
yeah.
Truly incredible lifter in that regard. So we'll finish off with our last three here. That is the men's all-star team. To kind of refresh what that is, it's just highest total in each open division weight class. Now, some weight classes were not... we didn't actually have someone compete in certain weight classes.
Yeah, like probably the light ones or super heavyweights.
Right, and some of them are only featured for youth, so like the 35, 40, and 44 are only youth categories.
Yeah.
All of the ones I featured were open men's and open women's. And there is one that I did forget that when we get toward the end, I will definitely make sure that we talk about. So let's talk about each one here. For the 52s and the 60s, who do we have?
So for the 52s, we had Roman Galkowski.
Yep.
And for the 60s, we had Felix Mies.
I believe it's either Mies or Mies. Felix, I believe, competed once, maybe twice. Good enough for the best total in the 60s.
Yep.
Roman Galkowski, I believe, is the youngest person in total on all of these lists. I'm pretty sure he's like 13 or 14.
Yeah.
Very incredible lifter, just a young kid. He's going to keep improving there.
It's great to see Stan Strong bring some of these young kids into the sport.
That's the other thing.
Yeah.
He's a Stan Strong. Felix Mies is a Team Kang athlete. How about our middleweights, our 67, 75, and 82?
So for the 67s, we have Erik Hogan.
Hey, y'all.
With a 1306 total.
Yep, that was 1306.
Yep. 75 kilos would be Maurice Romanchin.
I believe it's Romanchin.
Yep.
Maurice, I believe, is only 15.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember you talking about him.
Yep.
Does he has like an American record in the squat?
I don't know if it's official, but he has some type of either unofficial or official American record in the squat in the 75 kilo Teen 2 division.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's Teen 1, I'm not sure, but incredible.
Yeah.
Open division has the highest total. That's pretty incredible.
For the 75s, which is a pretty popular class.
Yep. How about the 82 and a half?
82 and a half, we have John Lavoie.
Now that's quite literally king slime.
Yeah.
He was just under 700 kilos for total. Just an incredible lifter there.
Insane.
How about some of our heavyweight people?
So for 90 kilos, we have Eli Yang. For 100 kilos, we have Evan Larson. 110, we have Michael Pinkham. And 140, we have Maxwell Dingle.
Yep, Maxwell, I believe, only competed once. Michael only competed once. Yep. Evan actually most recently competed in the 110s, but his total at 100 was just enough to edge out Evan Wright. I think it was 2.5 kilos higher.
Yeah.
Eli Yang, we already talked about him, incredible lifter in his own right. The only one that I unfortunately did forget, and just for whatever reason escaped me, in the 125 kilo division, Nikola Blagojevich put up the highest 125 total. So congratulations, Nikola, in that regard. Okay, the women's. Couple repeats here. And a couple people representing two weight classes. So in the 52s and the 56, we have Marielle Opena. No-brainer there. We've already said enough about her. Incredible. Who was our 60 through 75?
60, we had Brittany Boxer. 67, we had Christina Consigli. In 75, we had Julia Wells.
Yep, absolutely. We talked about them enough. Incredible lifters, and those women are, just incredible. What they're doing is incredible.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about 82 through 100.
82, we had Sage Dubé. 90, we had Taylor Knapp. 100, we had Emily Grinnell.
Yep.
And 100 kg plus, we had Laura Duty Bauer.
Yep, absolutely. So if we want to go in reverse order here, Laura, I believe, only competed that one time. It was in the summer, the same meet that you did.
Yep.
Did a fantastic job there. Emily Grinnell weighed in as a very, very, very light 100 kilo. I think she was like 90.9 kilos or something like that.
So she basically could have been a 90.
So she could have been a 90, and she did the right thing by not cutting weight her first meet, and clearly it worked out for her. Taylor Knapp was pretty light for her meet. She did incredible. Both those ladies are Team Hogan athletes. Sage Dubé recently was competed for the first time at the meet that you and I were at, the Kerry Boudreaux.
Oh, yep.
And she did very well. I believe she was top 4 or top 5 for the entire meet. Yeah. And I think third or second for the teens and the women. So she's a rising star. Definitely be looking forward to seeing her progress throughout the years. And then our last award, Meet Director of the Year.
Yeah.
So I will be honest, this was very easy, but also we don't have many people who direct meets to begin with.
Yeah.
It was pretty much between myself, Andrew, and Shelby Downing, because we're the only people who directed meets.
You and Andrew are kind of like one together, though.
Right, one together. However, we do have a single recipient for this award.
Yeah.
Who was that?
That was Andrew Graves.
Yep, absolutely. First of all, what was the criteria for this award?
So it was meet director who ran successful, high-quality competitions.
Right. And for this one, in years in the future, I wanted to stay that meet director who ran successful, high-quality competitions, not necessarily who ran the most competitions, because you can run a ton and have them just be, you
got shit going wrong.
Yeah, exactly. But you ran a lot of meets.
Yeah.
Or you can run 2 or 3 a year that are really good.
Right.
And I want to reward that. So Andrew Graves is our recipient of this award. Andrew did a really good job with everything, in terms of, because I'm right there, so I see everything. He co-directed 3 competitions in 2022 alone, which is a lot. He innovated the state of Maine competitions with live stream coverage, and things such as Lifters Tunnel, that was his idea. The walk-up songs was partially his idea. A lot of his ideas have also permeated to the greater New England area. Yeah. If you notice, there's a lot of meets now giving out prize money. They never did that before.
Yeah.
There's a lot of meets doing walk-up songs. Never really did that before.
Even Nationals is doing that.
Even Nationals. The live stream, I will be honest, our live stream that he came up by himself, mind you, I will always remind people that, is the best.
Yeah.
Even comparing to like Nationals and stuff like that.
It has sound. It has the layout of it is like perfect. It has all the sponsors on there.
Has the sponsors on there. Andrew does a full breakdown before the meet in a spreadsheet of all of the lifters' PRs, all of the lifters' history, some stuff about their personality.
He knew how many state records I had.
Exactly.
Which is a lot.
Which is a lot.
He counted all of them.
Right.
And he did that with everybody.
Right. So it goes to show, though, but when you put the effort in, that should be reflected. And I wanted to do due diligence with giving him this inaugural award here. This might change, but as of now, we only have 3 people directing meets in the state. So it might be going back and forth each year. So that was the initial inaugural USAPL Maine awards. I guess to end this off, if you had to take a bet on who is going to repeat next year, who would you put your money on? And for what award?
For which, like for a category?
For a lifting award, yeah.
For an award in general?
Yeah.
I think you'll repeat. I think you could take the best lifter of the year.
Okay, Evan was the winner of best lifter of the year, though.
Yeah.
I'm talking about repeat for the second year in a row.
Oh, for the same award?
Yeah.
Okay. I think, I'd have to look.
I'll say mine.
Okay.
I'd say if I had to put my money on it, I think Marielle for Women's Lifter of the Year would be a shoo-in. Junior Lifter of the Year, I think Kaylee Dow is in her final year. I think you're in their final year, so that's not going to happen. Evan Downing and Julia Wells in the teen. I think that's pretty much a shoo-in. How about I'll ask you this to end off. Where do you see some of these awards going to if you had to put your money on? So you just said you think I'm going to be Men's Lifter of the Year.
Yeah, I think you could be because, you're going to compete quite a few times.
We'll see.
Possibly 3.
We'll see.
Yeah, actually, that's not
It could be 0.
It could be 0.
Right.
Only golf.
Right.
You could be going to nationals.
Yep. So I think
you'll definitely be a contender for the best.
Yeah, that would be cool. I think John is going to return to form. I think John will compete a couple times next year.
Yeah, I think he has a chance of becoming the best too.
I could see him doing that. I could see that award being shaken up. Junior will be changing because we have 2 people leaving.
New junior lifter, yeah.
Teen might be on lock, but you never know who comes out of the woodwork. Masters, I'm not quite sure. I could see that kind of staying the same.
I think it could stay the same.
Yeah, I think it could stay.
Yeah, I think Andrew will continue to hold the meet director of the year.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I think you guys do a really good job. Obviously, like you too, you do a great job directing.
Right, but regardless.
You do a lot of the coaching side.
Right,
you
exactly.
do help out.
Yeah. I think in terms of comeback lifter year, it's kind of hard to tell because I don't know because you never know who's going to come back and
I
do
can't
stuff
repeat
like that.
because
You can't exactly. So you're going to be out of the running for that one, and Logan will be out of the running for Rising Star. I do have one person that comes to my mind that I think is going to do really well in
Twan.
This was technically his first year of competition, so he's going to be out of that race. I will say this. All right, maybe I'll take out of this. Teen Lifter of the Year. I could see a case. I'm just going to speak it into existence now because I'm not quite sure how old. Actually, I'm going to take this back. Elliot, bro, I was going to give you your flowers here. Elliot Woznica.
Elliot's not going to be a teen.
Elliot's only going to be a teen until July. And he'll be turning 20. So
and Evan's still a teen.
And Evan will still be a teen. So it looks like some
Logan's
of these awards.
a teen.
Yeah, and Logan's. Maybe Logan Allaire can push Evan Downing for because
is Evan 19 or is he 18?
I think he's 18 and he'll still have a full year of being 19. Okay. So Logan, hey, might be time to push them there.
This is Logan's time.
Yeah, it's your time, man. So I think that was a good spot to end it. Hope you all enjoyed this. I tried to put a ton of effort into this, and of course we want to do our due diligence with getting this posted to you guys. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in to the inaugural end of the year awards for USAPL Maine, and we hope you guys tune in next year. And hopefully we have a little bit more formal coverage and some physical awards to give out.
Yep.
Thank you guys.
See ya.